You know this feeling, my friend. That sting in your chest when someone looks at you in a certain way. That sinking heaviness in your stomach when you hear a rumor about yourself. That moment when a careless comment, spoken casually by someone who barely knows you, repeats in your mind again and again, as if it were carved into stone. It does not matter whether it was praise or criticism. Words, once they enter the mind, have power. They root themselves, they grow, and they begin to shape the very image you carry of yourself. And before long, you start to see your reflection not through your own eyes, but through the distorted lens of others. Napoleon Hill, the great teacher of success, warned us about this exact danger. He said, "You have absolute control over but one thing, and that is your thoughts." This is the most significant and inspiring of all facts known to man. It reflects man's divine nature. This ability to control your thoughts is the sole means by which you may control your destiny. And yet most men surrender this gift. They hand it away freely. They let the voices of others, family, friends, critics, and strangers enter their minds, dominate their thoughts, and dictate the course of their lives. Look around you. We live in a world where everyone has an opinion about everything. Loud voices, endless judgments, constant noise. Your friends, your family, strangers online. Each one is ready to tell you who you are, who you should be, and who you will never become. Napoleon Hill saw the tragedy in this. He said, "Opinions are the cheapest commodities on earth. Everyone has a flock of opinions ready to be wished upon anyone who will accept them. And the tragedy is that most men do accept them. They carry these opinions like chains, binding their will, their self-worth, even their identity." The Stoics saw it centuries earlier. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Think about that. You value yourself more than anyone else, yet you give strangers the authority to decide your value. Why? Because deep down you think their approval will make you certain. You believe if they see you as valuable, then you are valuable. If they see you as strong, then you are strong. But this, my friend, is the oldest trap in human history, the need for validation. And Napoleon Hill, with piercing clarity, warned, "You are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul, because when you control your thoughts, you control your destiny. But if you let others control your thoughts, you hand them your destiny as well." The truth is simple but powerful. When you let other people's opinions define you, you give them the keys to your peace. You make your sense of worth dependent on something you can never control. And a man who depends on what he cannot control will always live in chains. So how do you break free? The first step is what Napoleon Hill called self-mastery, the radical ownership of your own mind. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And that includes the words people throw at you. You cannot stop them from speaking, but you can decide whether their words pierce your heart or pass through you like smoke in the wind. Ask yourself, who am I when no one is watching? Strip away the applause, the criticism, the likes, the whispers, the judgments. What is left? That is your true foundation. And if that foundation is solid, no storm of opinion can move you. The second truth Napoleon Hill taught us is this: most opinions are not about you at all. They are reflections of the other person's fears, insecurities, and failures. When a man judges you harshly, he reveals more about his own limits than about your reality. Remember this: a man's judgment is his autobiography written in disguise. And so the wise man treats opinions for what they are: noise, data points. They may contain fragments of truth, but never the full truth. Your job is not to ignore every voice, but to weigh them carefully against your own values. If a critique sharpens you, take it. If it is petty, baseless, or malicious, let it fall to the ground without ever touching you. Napoleon Hill reminded us, don't wait. The time will never be just right. Start where you stand and work with whatever tools you have at your command. This means you must stop waiting for the world to approve of you before you take action. If you live to be liked, you will become a shapeshifter, bending, twisting, and breaking yourself to fit into every mold the crowd demands. But a man who belongs to everyone in truth belongs to no one, not even himself. Instead, aim to be respected, not by all, but by a few whose judgment is rooted in wisdom and integrity. And even then, do not let their respect become your prison. Because as Hill said, a man whose mind is not his own is a man who is already defeated. So what does this look like in practice? The Stoics wrote journals every day. They reflected on their actions. not as the world saw them, but as they truly were. You can do the same. Each night ask yourself, did I live according to my principles? Did I let the fear of judgment control me? Did I act as my highest self even when it was unpopular? Over time, something powerful will happen. The voices of the world will not disappear, but their volume will fade. They will still speak, but they will no longer steer you. And then in that silence, you will feel it, the quiet, unshakable confidence of a man who knows himself. But beware, this discipline is not a one-time decision. The pull of other people's opinions is constant, subtle, and seductive. You will face it at work, in your relationships, in every corner of your life. The battle never ends. And yet Napoleon Hill taught that persistence is the secret of mastery. He said, patience, persistence, and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success. So here's your challenge for the next week. Notice every moment you change what you say or do simply to avoid judgment or to earn praise. Write it down. At the end of the week, you will see clearly how often you give away your freedom, and then you can begin taking it back piece by piece. Because in the end, there is only one opinion that matters, the one you will have of yourself when your life is over. Will you look in the mirror with regret, or will you meet your own eyes with strength and pride? If you have lived by your own values, your own truth, your own reason, you will face yourself without fear. Let the world talk. You remain still. Let them judge. You walk forward unmoved. This is the secret. Napoleon Hill called definiteness of purpose, the power to know who you are, what you want, and to walk toward it no matter what storms surround you. This channel, The Power Zone, is not just a place for words. It is a sanctuary for men who are tired of being defined by the shifting winds of the crowd. It is a forge where men sharpen their edges, build their confidence, and rise to become unshakable. So if you are ready, if you are done being a leaf blown by the winds of opinion, then stay subscribed, grow with us. Because the man who stands firm in his own judgment, the man who takes command of his own mind, is untouchable. He walks through life not as a prisoner of the crowd, but as a mountain, immovable, eternal, and free.